So this is the second video for 8.5. Now we're going to do what we call factor by grouping. So for factor by grouping, what I'm going to do is kind of start the same way. I'm going to say, okay, what can I take out of all of these? And I notice I can't take an R out of everything. They don't all have R's. They don't all have a number in common. They don't all have N's. You guys, I'm kind of thinking there's nothing I can do. This is where you can try factor by grouping. If you have 4 terms, I want you to combine the first 2 terms, or group the first 2 terms and group the second 2 terms. Then, individually, factor each of those. So for just a minute, I'm taking my finger and I'm pretending like this doesn't exist. For just a second, I'm pretending like it's not there. So cover it up with your finger. Factor the left one. I can take an N out of both of them. So the N goes on the left. And oops, there shouldn't be a plus sign there. And I'm left with R plus 5. Now for just a second, I'm going to pretend that the right one doesn't exist, cover it up with my finger, and now I'm going to factor the right grouping. I don't see anything that can come out of that one. I think it's just negative R minus 5. This one is actually probably the more complicated example to start with, but that's okay. What my goal is, my goal is to try and get these 2 parentheses to look the exact same. And I'm really close, but they're not the exact same yet. So as I look at the second one, I'm wondering, what if I tried dividing a -1? That would make it a positive R and a positive 5. Now, do you have both terms to be the exact same? Or both parentheses to be the exact same? And the answer is yes. This is important. What I have here now is very, very fancy combining of like terms. Where, if I gave you 3R plus 2R, this is like just total random example land. If I gave you 3R plus 2R, you would say, well, that's super easy. That's just 5R. How did you get the 5? You took 3 plus 2 and you multiplied it by R. So that should set the stage for you to, visualize what I'm about to do with this N and the -1. That's about what I'm getting ready to do. But what I'm going to change on is, instead of it being 3R and 2R, instead I'm going to say, hey, I have 3x plus 2 and 2x plus 2. How many total x plus 2's do you have? Well, there are 5 x plus 2's, right? If you can take the 3 and the 2 and combine them to get 5, then you can take the 3 and the 2 and combine it to get 5. But again, I'm going to say, how did you get 5? And you would say, well, I took 3 plus 2 to get 5 of my x plus 2's. That's what you're going to do up here. So I'm going to say, okay, I have R plus 5. I have N and a -1. That's going to be your first parentheses. And then R plus 5 over here. And the reasoning that works is because of all this stuff that I just explained in this little side thought over there. That's your answer. You want to know if you got it right? Then distribute. FOIL. N times R is Rn. N times 5 is 5n. -1 times R is -R and -5. Did you end up where you started? Boom. Mic drop. Okay, maybe not a mic drop, but there it is. If you find yourself in a spot where your 2 parentheses are super close to being the same, but one of them's negative signs are all messed up, then try taking out a -1. I think that's all we'll do for today.